Brian Powell of Ira on Fire here with Stevie Kremer after her win at the 2014 Zegama-Aizkorri Marathon. Nice work out there, Stevie.
Thanks, Brian. It was kind of a shocker for sure.
Yeah?
Yeah. I would have never thought that I could win this marathon. Ever.
Ever?
No. I was hoping for top 3 going into it, but I don't. The downhill is such a key part, and being that it's super technical, especially with all the rain and mud, I really didn't think I could do it.
For the first half of the race, you and Casey Evan were going back and forth. Did you actually work together at all, or did you get energy from each other? Or we were already in race mode?
I definitely think we fed off each other. When she's a very strong downhiller and uphiller for that matter, but I think I had a little bit more on the up, and she had way more on the down. So every time there was a downhill, she would fly by me, regardless of technical terrain. And I think, every time we saw each other, we were determined to meet back up at some point. So, yeah. So maybe we fed off each other, but we definitely cheered each other on. When she did pass, I would congratulate her, and same with her and me. So
nice. So there was positive energy the first half of the race.
Yes.
When did you sort of go ahead? I mean, where you sort of felt like you were opening up a little space?
After you hit that final ascent, well, what they call the final ascent on the mountain, kilometer 30 or so, I knew there was a lot of downhill. So in my head, Casey was getting first. I knew she was going to pass me. And so I just said, go as fast as you can on this. And when it's not technical, I can do okay. But then she never came, and I wondered what happened to her. And I knew I was going, I was pushing super hard. So, but I figured she was 30 seconds behind me. In fact, someone screamed at me that she was 30 seconds behind me. But yeah, so come kilometer 31, I just kind of took off, and I never saw her again, and I don't know how that happened.
And were you not only ahead of Casey, you were also ahead of Emily and...
Emily, there was one point where Emily definitely was. She passed me and Casey on a downhill, and then was a little bit ahead on the uphill, and then both Casey and I passed her on the up. And then I didn't see Emily again. I did hear people screaming for Eliza a bunch of times.
Okay.
So I knew she was somewhere close to me, or at least close enough that, they were screaming for her. So, but yeah, Casey was definitely my biggest threat, if you will.
But you couldn't let up for a second?
No.
Even
on that last downhill where there's some technical, especially with the deep mud, but even on that, the last 10K, last 8K where it's pretty somewhat smooth, I just pushed it as hard as I could because I was convinced she was right behind me. I mean, even when it said kilometer 40 and I knew I had a mile left, I did not give up because I knew she could come out of nowhere.
Did that really push you harder than you thought you could run?
Oh yeah, to the point that I was terrified running down that concrete. And honestly, it wasn't until you go the last probably 500 meters that I thought maybe I actually have this race right now. Spectators are sticking their hand out and you're waving to them, and you're like, oh, maybe I actually did this. Is this possible? So I was not convinced because she is such an amazing downhill runner.
Did you at least get to enjoy a couple hundred meters coming into the finish?
Oh yeah, the final curve into it, for sure. That was great.
And what was it like coming across the line?
It was amazing. This race, like I said yesterday, just has something about the spectators, and that, this is a race you want to win just because people just are so enthusiastic about this race. So definitely feels good.
As soon as but very shortly after you crossed the line, you just turned around and stayed waiting for the rest of the women to come in.
Yeah. Well, because I figured Casey was right there, right behind me, and I was excited for her, my roomie of the weekend. So, I was super happy for Lisa and everyone else after that, but it was a shock when Casey didn't come right around after that. I thought she was right behind me.
How nervous were you at the start? You were totally nervous yesterday.
I was terribly nervous. I didn't sleep much last night, and with the rain starting this morning, I wondered, do I warm up? I don't want my socks getting wet, which was probably really dumb because the second you started, we got soaking wet.
Yeah.
I was a mess. And to be honest, I know people say they lose their nerves once the race started. I was nervous the whole race.
Really?
Just going back and forth with Casey and then with Emily. Who knows what's going to happen in these races.
So you're super nervous at these things.
Oh, yeah.
But at the same time, there's almost a very looseness about yourself.
Yeah.
Like when Depa's interviewing you after the race and you're speaking in Castellano and sort of shaking your butt.
Well, I have to make light of certain situations, and I mean, every single person fell, but I would just literally slip and just go down the hill. In fact, there was a man ahead of me who would point to where I should run with the least amount of money. He was so nice to me, especially the last 10K. It was pretty incredible how much he tried to help me. So it was nice to be able to give him a hug. I mean, he wouldn't even let himself finish in front of me, even though he was faster than me. He let me have everyone cheering so that we wouldn't share. I mean, he was super nice. It was pretty incredible. And that's what this race is. It's just, everyone is so, never once was I on the trail where a guy, you know, would step ahead of me. They were so considerate, and if I maybe sounded like I was stronger, they would give me a little push up the hill and say, "Go, Stevie, go."
So there was no machismo, there was no, I'm going to get chipped. There was
no.
Like, here's an awesome, strong runner.
No. Yeah, exactly. They were super supportive. Yeah, it was great. Yeah.
I wonder if that has anything to do with like the female Basque runners just being so strong and like...
Yeah. But you know, it was crazy. Just everyone who, even at the finish line, every single person was just so happy for me. It's really incredible. And there was no sense of, I don't know if jealousy is the right word, but everyone is just so happy for you. So that's so incredible. You don't have that at a lot of races.
Anywhere.
Anywhere.
In any sport, probably.
No. Right.
Yeah. What do you have coming up?
The Mont Blanc Marathon with the same girls. So it'll be the same. You know, this race was really interesting. It's early season. You don't know how much people have been training. Mm-hmm. You know, Mont Blanc's in a month from now, so you wonder what's going to happen there. But it's all uphill, which is great for me. So yeah, so we'll see how that goes.
That's your next focus? Anything big after that?
You know, I'm going to do the whole sky running series. Well, I don't know if I'm going to do Canat, but hopefully I'll do Ultrax in Zermatt. But other than that, I don't really know. I mean, no tickets have been booked to anything, so we'll see.
So it's Mont Blanc Marathon.
It's Mont Blanc Marathon. And I love local races in Colorado and Utah for that matter. I think they're wonderful. So hopefully I'll be able to sneak into one or two of those.
Just jump in and have... Not be nervous?
Oh, I still get nervous. But this is way worse than anything else. This is way worse, but yeah.
And now you've got to enjoy it for a couple hours, but now you jump in a car and head to...
Yeah, my little second graders are waiting for me.
Gotta get back and teach. But
right.
Do you have class tomorrow?
No, it's Memorial Day. That's why this worked out great. Thank you, Memorial Day.
Thank you for letting me know. It's Memorial Day tomorrow.
Yeah, it's awesome. So I didn't have to take tomorrow off school. I'm thanking my school.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Thanks, Brian.
Savor it.
Thanks for everything.
Yeah, see you later.
Thanks.